Heal your body and not your symptoms. Be a survivor, not the victim. Treat your body right.
Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. I'm living my life at its best, y'all. No stress, good health, I'm blessed, y'all.
Love, peace, and blessings, everyone. This is Sakina with Natural Max Health, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel, and I also like to thank you for watching. So, for the last 14 or so videos, I have been discussing 4 proven methods to reverse illness, to reverse diseases in the body, and not just treating the symptoms. Now, if you are new to my channel, or if you missed the last videos or somehow just did not catch those 4 proven methods, I will list those in the description box for you. So one of the proven methods to reversing illnesses and reversing diseases is removing toxins and waste from the body, particularly at the cellular level. So today we are going to discuss removing candidiasis from the body. Now, what is candidiasis, you may be asking yourself? Love, peace, and blessings, everyone. This is Sakina with Natural Max Health, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel, and I also like to thank you for watching. So for the past 14 or so videos, I have been discussing 4 proven methods to reverse disease, to reverse illnesses in the body, and not just treating the symptoms. So if you are new to my channel, or if you did not catch any of the last videos, the last 14 or so videos, or if you just somehow missed the 4 proven methods, I will have those listed in the description box for you. So one of the proven methods for reversing diseases, for reversing illnesses, is removing toxins and waste from the body, particularly at the cellular level. So I will be continuing my discussion on that. We are going to discuss candidiasis today, and probably for the next 2 videos. I would probably have to divide these into 2. So let's begin. So exactly what is candidiasis, you may be asking yourself. I'm glad you asked. So before we get into the definition of that, let's just go over the outline real quick. I will discuss what candidiasis is. I will discuss how we get it. I will discuss the symptoms, what disturbs the balance. We will also go over how to rid the body of it. And that's probably going to be the part that's on the part 2 of the video. So let's begin by talking about Candida albicans. Candida may be a more familiar term to you. Candida albicans is a type of yeast that lives naturally on our skin and also lives naturally in the gastrointestinal tract area as well as the genital tract area. Now, candidiasis develops when there is an overgrowth of the candida, or the fungus or the yeast that is caused by candida. This overgrowth of the yeast or overgrowth of the fungus can lead to an infection. And this fungus can move throughout the body. It travels with the blood and it travels with the lymph fluid. Now, Candida albicans, as I just recently stated, It grows naturally on our skin. It grows naturally in our gastrointestinal tract area and in our genital tract area. It's usually kept in check by the friendly bacteria in the gut. But if there is a imbalance of good bacteria and bad bacteria in our gut, then there is a disruption, and the balance of Candida can become out of control. And when this happens, it leads to all sorts of unpleasant health issues. So let's just go over some of the places where you can get this Candida overgrowth. You can get this, or candidiasis if you prefer. You can get this overgrowth in any opening of your mouth. You can get it in your nose. If you get it in your nose, you usually have a lot of congestion. You can get it in your mouth. If you get it in your mouth, you usually have like thrash on your tongue. You probably hear about a lot of babies getting thrash on their tongue. That's the Candida overgrowth. You can also get Candida in, as I mentioned earlier, in the genital tract area. That would be called either a yeast infection for females or a jock itch for our males. Both are unpleasant. Other names that you might be familiar with for Candida overgrowth includes athletic feet, diaper rash, dandruff, and ringworm, just to name a few. I'm sorry, just to name a few. Got a little tight tongue there. Now, Candida overgrowth is not only limited to rashes and skin eruptions. Candida overgrowth, it can affect your mood. It can make you feel lethargic. It can affect your digestion. It can affect your memory, and it can even affect your mood. It can have you feeling depression. It can have you emotional distress, have you feeling lethargic. There are all sorts of problems with an overgrowth of Candida or an imbalance of Candida in the body, particularly when it gets in through the blood and travels through the lymph system and goes through different parts of the body. Now, what are some of the symptoms of an overgrowth of Candida or an imbalance of Candida? Well, there are many symptoms, and keep in mind some of these symptoms are interchangeable. They can also be symptoms of other disruptions in the body. But some of the symptoms of an imbalance of Candida or an overgrowth of Candida is numbness in your hands, numbness in your legs, in your face. Another symptom is constipation, hypothyroidism, diarrhea, abdominal pain, a nagging cough that you just can't get rid of, with a lot of phlegm attached to it. Muscle and joint pain. Keep in mind that this imbalance of yeast or fungus can travel throughout your body, through the blood and through the lymphatic, through the fluid in your lymphatic system. Canker sores are another symptom of Candida overgrowth. Congestion, arthritis, kidney and bladder infections, depression, and of course skin eruptions. Dermatitis, eczema, psoriasis, just bumps, rashes. As I mentioned earlier, dandruff in the hair. A lot of people don't realize that when they have dandruff, that it also is a form of eczema, but it's also a form of the imbalance of the natural Candida in the body. Okay, so what are some of the things that causes an imbalance of Candida in the body? One is antibiotics. Antibiotics can cause an overgrowth of Candida in the body. Birth control pills. A lot of the doctors don't tell you this, and Perhaps it's because they're not aware. But birth control pills can cause an imbalance of candida in the body. So ladies, if you're on the pill and you're getting a lot of yeast infections and you can't understand why, or maybe you have some of the other symptoms of an imbalance of candida that I mentioned earlier, it might be due to the birth control pill. Drugs, experimental drugs, can cause an imbalance of candida in the body, even prescription drugs. So this is why it's important to, wash that down with a lot of water to try to move it out of your system. Steroids can cause an imbalance of candida in the body. Even if you have asthma and you have an inhaler, the steroids from the inhaler can cause this imbalance of candida in the body. Medicines that suppress your immune system, such as prednisone, can cause an imbalance of candida in the body. Dampy, moldy places, chemotherapy, diabetes, synthetic underwear, and that's where you're going to get a lot of your jock itch or a lot of your yeast infection, depending upon your gender. Your diet is a good way to get a overgrowth of candida or an imbalance of candida in the body. A lot of sugar, a lot of processed foods will cause candida in the body. Well, not candida, but an imbalance of candida in the body, or an overgrowth of the fungus, or an overgrowth of the yeast. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the symptoms that I provided, they can be caused by many things. It don't have to always be an imbalance of candida. So the best way to find out if you're not for sure if you have an imbalance of candida is to get a blood test. Or there are, once you get into the crossover to the natural, healthy, or alternative medicine, as it is called, there are a lot of machines and equipment, nutritional blood analysis, other equipments that can read what's going on in your body to let you know if you have an imbalance of candida in your body, and that could possibly be causing a lot of health issues, a lot of unpleasant and uncomfortable health issues. So we're going to go into a little bit of how to rid the body of candida, an imbalance of candida today, but then we will go a lot more into it on our next video. So as I mentioned just a few moments ago, an imbalance of candida in the body can be caused by your diet. So some are the foods that you want to avoid or reduce to be proactive and prevent from getting this imbalance of candida I'm going to go over. Or if you already have an imbalance of candida, you want to be very conscious of these foods. Once again, we will go more in depth over it the next time we meet, but I just want to give you just a few things to get you started in case you are having this issue and you want to know ways to get rid of it. Now, before I go into the diet, naturally, if you're on the pill, if you're on antibiotics, if you're on an inhaler, and these are causing an overgrowth or an imbalance of candida in your body, you really have to stop using them, right? Honestly, maybe there are other methods you can use for birth control. If you have an inhaler, breathing is very important. I get that. But asthma is really allergies. So it's really would behoove of you to get down to the bottom of your allergies so that you can manage or control or reverse your asthma or your COPD by your diet, so that you no longer need the inhaler. So those are obvious ways to get the balance back to normal of Candida in your body. But the most prominent way, or the easiest way, is going to be your diet. So there are certain foods that you want to avoid to rid the body of the imbalance of Candida overgrowth, or to balance it. And we will start with the baker's yeast. Baker's yeast is going to be anything that rises. This is going to include your breads, your cupcakes, your cookies, and things like that. And if you're like me, I love bread. I can live without cupcakes. I can live without cookies. I'm more of a savory person than a sweet person. But, you know, if you got that imbalance, unfortunately, it's one of the things that you have to reduce in your diet or avoid. If you have an imbalance, you want to avoid it, you know, maybe for several weeks. Not several weeks, several months. But once again, we would dive more deeper into this in our next video. Mushrooms. You want to avoid mushrooms because mushrooms are a fungus, naturally are a fungus, and they can increase the overgrowth of fungus that you already have in your body. It can make it spread. Dairy foods. You want to avoid your dairy foods. Anyone with an imbalance of Candida need to avoid dairy foods. Fermented foods, you want to avoid those. Vinegar, you want to avoid sugar, honey, artificial sweeteners. Your processed foods, your chips, anything that, I wouldn't say anything that has a label, but a lot of your apples and salads and chickens and things like that have labels on them too. But anything that you don't find naturally in nature. And we are going to dive into the processed foods a little bit more next time we meet, because there are some things that's considered processed foods that you may not have considered. Melons. Melons is another food that you want to avoid if you have an overgrowth or imbalance of Candida. Now, here's where it gets tricky when you get to the melons and to the fruits. Some research said to avoid fruits. Some just said to avoid dried fruits. So that's where you really have to start weaning things out to see what's going to work best for you. Now, last but not least is you want to avoid the grains and the white flour. And of course, as I mentioned, we will dive more deeper into this next time we meet. Now, before I close out, I would like to share with you some of my references. I did a lot of research for this topic because Candida, it can wreak havoc on your body. It can be very dangerous. It can be very unpleasant. So I want us to take this topic seriously. So one of my references is the textbook of African Holistic Health by Dr. Layla Africa. So if you want to take a look at that, I will also list my references in the description box. Another reference, The Body Ecology Diet by Donna Gates. And we definitely would dive more into this book the next time we meet, because the Body Ecology Diet I will be discussing a lot, and I am currently on the Body Ecology Diet. Unfortunately for me, for years I was on a pill, for years I was on an inhaler, not knowing that it caused an overgrowth of or an imbalance of Candida in the body. It was just one of the reasons why I'm currently reversing skin eruptions in my body. Herbal Antibiotics by Stephen Herod Barner. So this is another reference. Now, my reference is not limited to these three books, but these are the three that I feel I got the most information out of, and that the most information that I'm sharing or other than, information that I've known all along. Some things were confirmed to me in this book or just reiterated. So I do feel that this is a good place to stop so that I can avoid the videos being too long. I hope that you found the video to be beneficial. One thing that I left out, just going over my notes here a little bit, is that you can also get candida growth in your ears. So if you feel like your ears are blocked, or if you have a dull, achy feeling in your ears, that could possibly be an imbalance of candida in your body. So people, please take candida seriously. If you have an imbalance of it, it can really wreak havoc on your body. Like I said, it can be unpleasant if you're dealing with the yeast or the jock infections, the thrush, the dandruff, or the athlete's feet. It can be very unpleasant. It can even be deadly if left unchecked. So we definitely want to take this seriously. So I am going to go ahead and close out for now. If you found part 1 to be informative, if you learned anything, if this has blessed you in any way, I hope that you would give my video a thumbs up. If you haven't already, I hope that you would subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you could be notified when I upload new videos. And hopefully you can share this video with someone else who might also be blessed. So once again, I thank you so much for watching, and I just hope that until next time, you have a great, a healthy, a safe, a blessed, and prosperous week. Until then, take care and God bless. Ta-ta.